I love plants. They're all around me here in my home office and peppered throughout my home downstairs. It's something that transparently I never really had time for, before COVID, because I was always traveling and I was kind of doing events and operations behind the scenes part-time. Fun fact about me. But something that I really have loved since we've moved to our new home at the end of 2021 is that I have had a lot of time at home to really care for and be hyper focused on growing and nurturing my plants inside of the house. So they bring me a ton of joy, and something I've learned about specifically mothering plants that I think is helpful to consider when you look at business operations is that sometimes it takes some intense pruning, like even of really nice looking leaves, to make way for new growth. So I have very frequently viciously cut back in some of my houseplants so that they can grow to double their size. Whether it's taking back really big leaves that are actually really beautiful, but they're blocking sunlight from some of the others. And I think what we can do is we can use this idea inside of our business to help us identify what are some of the things that might be overshadowing. And though they might bring in a lot of revenue for us, is it actually going to do us a disservice down the line because we're unable to diversify some of our solutions with some of that undergrowth right inside of our houseplants? So I encourage you to consider, what might it look like to trim back some of the largest revenue producing or some of the things that cost the most resources inside of your business to make way for some of this new growth, and really consider the same thing about your team, right? What are the really big roles that you currently have where if you just really cut away some of the things that they do inside of the business, they would be able to focus on a little bit more of a diverse and a little bit more long-term, strategy to help you grow the business. I think a lot of times, and especially in our Western culture, we are always taught that more is better, right? If you have more money, if you have more things, if you have more experiences, all of those things, right? And I think that it's helpful to have more money and more things and more experiences, but really, what are we doing with those things? Do they have meaning, right? You can have 1,000 experiences and family vacations with your kids and with your significant other, but if you're not actually fully present, does that trip have meaning? And did we get what we needed to get out of that trip? The same thing is true inside of our business and when pruning plants, right? Sometimes having more growth isn't necessarily what's going to be the best thing for sustainability long term. Hope that's helpful.